Today, we are going to clean out your emotional junk drawer. Now, most of us don't realize that we are carrying a ton of emotional junk that no longer serves us. But because that junk is uncomfortable, we often avoid dealing with it. So, here are a couple of methods that I want to share with you. But first, I'm going to tell you why we need to do this. It's incredibly important because the emotional junk that we carry with us that we don't need anymore, it's making us sick and tired. When we have these old traumas, these old dissatisfactions, these old unhappinesses that we carry with us, one, it affects the way that we perceive the world in general, right? It kind of puts on these poop colored glasses where we filter our new experiences through the emotional junk that we haven't dealt with. And once we do that and we realize it was never ours, or maybe it's not ours to keep, and we've grown so much from it, the world actually changes. Your reticular activating system, which is like your brain's algorithm, start seeing the world differently. And this is super important. It's also really important because any unprocessed junk that we are carrying around with us will make us sick, right? If you're having trouble sleeping, if you have anxiety, if you are unwell in any way, shape, or form, and you have emotional junk in your junk drawer, that's either creating it or it's making it worse. So, what can happen? Your cortisol can go up, your sleep can suffer, you can gain weight. And I will share from my personal experience that when I started clearing out my emotional junk drawer, I lost 20 pounds. I sat down, I did the work, and I ended up losing 20 pounds while not really trying that hard, right? And this was weight I'd done everything to lose in the past. So, clearing out your emotional junk drawer will probably make you feel more energetic and physically healthy too. So, the first step to actually clearing out our emotional junk drawer is to take it and dump it out. Now, I find the best way to do this is on pen or in a voice memo, but you can also do it on your phone or typing it, right? And what does this do? First of all, our brain has a way of hiding things from us so that they don't hurt as much. This is a protective mechanism. Our brain is awesome at enabling us to hide away our emotional junk because it wants us to function in everyday life, right? So, whatever your means are, take it out and just start writing or speaking about all of the things that are still bothering you, all of the things that bothered you in the past. And you're going to feel these waves of emotion come up. You might feel anger, you might feel grief. Let those feelings be there. Take a deep breath, put your hand on your heart, and just give yourself a minute to sit with that feeling. We're going to talk about how to process that feeling in the next part, right? But just let it be there. It's okay. And then remind yourself, I'm still safe. I'm okay. This is just a feeling. This is just history. This is a memory. It'll pass. Another really effective way to work on the junk in your emotional junk drawer is to name it and reframe it. Now, science has shown that the more accurately you can describe what happened to you and how you felt about it, the more easily your brain can process it. So often we just go into freeze mode and we don't want to talk about it or we don't want to think about it. But if you can sit down and say, oh, I felt really disappointed by what that person did to me. And I felt it. I felt it in my chest and it felt like betrayal, right? The more granular you can get in describing it, the more effectively your brain can process it as a memory rather than a present day threat. So that is the first part. That is naming it. And then we are going to reframe it. That means that we are going to try to put it into some perspective, right? So maybe somebody hurt us, but was it the end of the world? It probably wasn't, right? Or is there maybe a reason that they acted that way? Because oftentimes, especially as people pleasers, as nice people, we try to figure out what we did wrong. We try to make excuses for their behavior. But if we can reframe it into a more neutral statement, it also helps our brains process it out better. And when our brains process it out better, our emotions process it out better, right? Our bodies. So think of the context that the situation happened in, give it some perspective, expand the situation so that you can fully understand it. Now, personally, my favorite tool in the emotional junk removal toolkit is the Pennebaker journaling method. This is a study that was done where they asked people to do three things 3 days in a row or three somewhat consecutive days, right? You write about what happened to you, how it made you feel in the moment, and how it has impacted your life ever since. And when you do this the first day, you're going to feel a huge wave of emotion come up, and that's normal. But here's what happens. In this process, you are grieving. You are letting go of the emotion. You're diffusing the situation. And because it's something that happened in the past, your brain can start understanding that it's no longer a threat, right? So you either do this 3 days in a row, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Monday, Friday, Wednesday, but you want to do it fairly close together and at an interval, right? So you do this 3 times in a row. And here's what happens in your brain. The brain takes the situation, faces it, grieves it, and then it puts it into long-term storage where it's no longer an active threat. And I have to say that every time we do this method in one of my workshops or my coaching, this is the one that really brings home the safety that you've been looking for and the calm that you've been looking for. Because rather than being this vague threat that keeps on haunting you, it gets completely recompartmentalized. Now, of course, one of the things that's left in your emotional junk drawer is the need for closure. People do us wrong. We maybe have done other people wrong. And that is a hard and heavy burden to carry with us all the time. So here's what I like to do. I return it to the sender. There are people that are never going to give you the closure that you need, but you can get it for yourself. And here's how you do it. You write a letter. And in that letter, you return to them the pain, the suffering, the anxiety, the whatever it is that you have been carrying because they did something to you. You don't need to send this letter. I usually just burn mine. You say, I'm returning this to you. This was never mine to carry. So I am returning it to you. Thank you for the lessons you taught me. Thank you for making me stronger. But this pain, this burden, this is no longer mine to carry. And then when you're done, you can burn that letter, you can throw it in the trash. It really doesn't matter. Now, it's important to note that as you're cleaning out your emotional junk drawer, you might have a dip in energy, a dip in mood, a dip in just your general well-being right afterwards. This is what we call the detox, right? This is stuff that you've been carrying around. And just like when you're detoxing from anything else, when you're going through a cleanse, your body is exposing itself to the toxins, to the pain one more time. And that takes a toll on your body. Imagine it like this. You've been carrying around this really heavy baggage of emotional pain, of emotional disappointments for the longest time. It's heavy. You're carrying it every single day. Now, you have the opportunity to throw it into a dumpster, right? And that's going to take some effort because it's heavy. So in these exercises that I'm teaching you today, you are taking that big old suitcase of baggage that you've been hauling around, the contents of your emotional junk drawer, and you have to lift it and you have to throw it into a dumpster. That is what you're doing here. So it's going to feel tiring. It's going to feel a little bit exhausting, but I promise you that when you do these exercises, you will come out feeling so much better, so much clearer, so much freer, and so much happier on the other side. Now, if rediscovering your joy, working through your self-esteem and self-confidence issues, finding the best way to live a life that you really love is something that you're interested, I hope you follow along. You can subscribe, you can like and follow me, and I can't wait to see you in the next part.